Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So today we are going to be talking another variety of strings, and this is called as string of tears. Now they are very similar to string of pearls, but the only thing is that these have a little bit more pointed leaves at the end. Regularly the pearls are very round, but these are going to be slightly oval in shape with a little bit of point and resembles a lot like the tears or drops. So they are called as string of tears. Now the care requirement is almost the same as like any other string succulent, like the string of pearls or string of bananas, because they all belong to the same variety, same genus, the Senecio genus. So they have the same care requirements. Now again, I'm using a plastic container because, as I've said this earlier as well, they prefer a very minimum or very slight amount of moisture in the soil, but not soggy wet soil. Apart from that, you cannot keep them in direct sunlight. At least for me, in my environment, I do not expose them to direct sunlight because I have had a bad experience of even keeping them for 1 hour in morning direct sunlight, and the pearls or the leaves had started to deflate. The moment I moved them into an indirect bright light, immediately they started to plump up. You might have seen my video on string of pearls as well. That's the same thing what had happened. So I have completely stopped keeping them in direct sunlight, but again, it depends. Some people do keep them in morning sunlight. I think it all depends upon the environment. For me, it does not work out, so I only keep them in indirect bright light. So if you want to be on the safer side, keep them in indirect but really bright light, and trust me, they will do quite well. Now the pot size is very shallow. It's a very small container. It's a food container, probably less than 1 inch of depth, but the soil mix is the same what I use for my other succulents. It is loose, porous and well draining. The same thing that I use for my string of pearls as well. If you want to know the detailed video about it, I'll put in the link in the description. You can check about how I have repotted the string of pearls. Entire thing is same. You can follow the same process for your string of tears as well. Now watering, you have to be extremely careful. Do not overwater them, because if you're going to overwater them, these tears or the leaves that you see, they will start to turn mushy, they will start to turn transparent. So you have to ensure that the soil is dry, but at the same time it has a very slight moisture, not too much, not soggy wet soil. And keep them in indirect bright light. Mealybugs are not much of an issue. I haven't seen much mealy attacks on any of my strings. You might experience that cotton ball kind of a mold. You can just clear it off with a Q-tip. Just dip it in any hand sanitizer or rubbing alcohol, but do not spray it on the succulent. I would say wherever you see the infection, just touch it with the Q-tip and that is going to clear it off. Fertilizers, I do not use any fertilizers. They tend to go dormant during the summer, so in summers please do not add anything. They will be going dormant. Winter is the time that they tend to grow, so during winters, if you are a person who tends to use fertilizers, you can do it during the winters. But personally, I do not use any fertilizers for any of my string succulents. Now talking about the propagation, it's again the same as string of pearls. You can cut off any part of the stem and then just put it into the soil. Ensure that the soil is completely bone dry. If there is going to be moisture, that particular stem will start to rot. You need to callus. It will just take hardly a day or so because the stem is very thin. Again, their stems are not very stiff like other succulents, just like how our Dasyphilum major, they have a very soft stem. So you have to ensure that you do not put a lot of pressure, otherwise the stem can be damaged easily. And as I said, you can either propagate it via stem or you can separate it from the roots. But for that, you have to take out the plant. So the best thing what you can do is just cut it off in between, like over here. As you can see, this is the stem. Like for example, if I have to do a propagation, I will prefer to cut it right over here, this stem, and then I can propagate it. But I'm not going to propagate this right now. I'm just going to let it go because this is just one strand that I have. I have another one that is still picking up. I will definitely make a video on that. I think that probably is a variegated one. So you have two varieties in string of tears. You have a regular one, which is the green one, and you have a variegated string of tears as well, which has the variegation on them. The care requirement is very similar for both. It's almost the same. All of the string of succulents have the same care requirements, but the only major thing is that I prefer to have a very shallow tray. I prefer to have a shallow pot, especially made out of plastic, because I never had luck with the earthen pots. They start to have issues with the earthen pots, so I only prefer to keep plastic pots for my strings. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep planting.